motherfuckers, the time is nigh. How you doing? It's Brain Smasher. Look, your mother and I brought you here because of metal. Turn this down a little bit. We need to talk to you about some metal. Felt like shooting somewhere else today. The car is where we're shooting. So this is what I will be listening to in the car. So kind of a spin after spin, but mostly it's just a collection update, haul video. I've got a lot of shit in. Friday I got 26 CDs in the mail because I'm a good boy. I don't know a lot about these albums. A lot of them I've never known before. So let's just fucking thrash into them. What do you say? Anything that goes on behind me is not my responsibility. We are live. We're gonna be listening to, not sure how loud to keep this, not used to the soundscape going on here. Inferno with Utter Hell. Osmos Productions, 1996. I previously only owned Downtown Hades by these guys, and this is an essential in my collection because this is the god of all that is good. Carl Michael, Aggressor, also in Aura Noir, and this sounds a lot like Aura Noir. This, if I'm not mistaken, I think one of these guys is Einar Sierso from Beyond Dawn, but god damn it, neither of them look like that, so I don't know, maybe he joined later. I just don't know a whole lot about Inferno, but we're going to be listening to them. Awesome Norwegian black thrash kind of stuff. Actually, I would say Aura Noir is black thrash, and Inferno is just like beer thrash. Yeah, but really similar counterparts. Oh, this fucking song. I remember this from some compilation. All right, so my buddy Kevin sent me his final chunk of goodies. So sad day that I think that's the rest of his collection that I can buy from him, but tons of good shit in here. I'm so stoked about this. Probably the best chunk of stuff that I've gotten from him yet. So Flesh Crawl, Impurity. This album should not be played at less than maximum volume because the drums sound so godly. The drums sound so fucking perfect. This is so fucking good. It's like a death metal band playing a grindcore record. There's grindy riffs and it's just really stripped down and simplistic, and I kind of feel like this is the first of many bands who were playing traditional kind of death metal really stepping out of their element and kind of simplifying it, dumbing it down, and just making it fucking razor sharp and brutal. And it works so well on this Impurity. Next, I've got Funeris, Reduced to Sludge. I don't know. I heard this years and years ago, and always kind of meant to pick it up. Are these guys from New Jersey, like Incantation is? Kyle Severn from Incantation is in this band with his wife and some dude who rules. I haven't listened to this in years and years and years, so I don't know. 2011, Ibex Moon Records, which is, I think, their label together. Reduced to Sludge. Some good American death metal. Next, we've got Evil Army, self-titled. Yeah, full length, 2009. You know, Hell's Headbangers puts out and used to put out a lot of fucking just washed out kind of thrash that I always thought was really doing them a disservice, but this was one of the better of those bands. So I always kind of meant to pick these guys up, and finally doing it. They always did just fucking awesome packaging, super thick paper, and I always liked that they did LP and CD, but they put the same amount of quality into both. A lot of labels will do awesome deluxe vinyl, but CDs just like whatever, fucking here you go. Kind of like how like No Colors back in the day would put out good CDs, but their vinyl was just like flimsy shit. Next, we got Twisted Tower Dire with The Curse of the Twisted Tower. 1999. This is some American heavy power metal, kind of somewhere in there. I guess this is a double disc, but the second disc, it looks like it's just kind of like a sampler kind of thing with some extra stuff. I'm not really sure what exactly it is, but Heaven and Hell Records. I used to have one of these guys' records, and I really miss owning it and listening to it. I can't believe more people don't go nuts for this band. Maybe they only had one good record and most people don't know it or something. Maybe this is great. I don't know. I haven't listened to it, but had to pick up some of their stuff. Anytime that's like one of those bands, if I ever see them used, I'll get it, but I'm probably not going to go out of my way to, you know, buy much of their stuff. Filling out the discography of The Wizard. I always wondered if these guys named themselves from the first opening lines of Dope Throne. Anyways, this is a Tasmanian stoner, kind of traditional heavy doom kind of band. I have had their demo CDR in my collection for a really long time, ever since it came out, and just never wound up getting around to getting their stuff. So I picked up Cebado Negro, as well as Ancient Tome of Arcane Knowledge. By the way, this one is on Beer in Your Ear Records, 2007. This one is limited to 666 on Barbarian Wrath. Year on this, fucked up jewel case, 2014. So this might be their most recent one. I don't think they're active anymore, but these guys just always kind of did it the right way, playing a style that's kind of like but doing it really well. And picked up a third full length from them, so now I have all their full lengths as well as their demo. Really hard to see. Infernal Wizardry. Rusty Axe put this out, and that is the label of my friend Andy, who left the scene, sadly. Put out a lot of good stuff on Rusty Axe. Into that later. Repulsion, Horrified. Always felt like I should own a copy of this. I guess I kind of heard about it late in the game, maybe 10 years ago or so. Didn't really like it, but have kind of always thought, like, man, everybody hypes this record. I need to at least own it. So, I mean, this is amazing. This is an original Necrosis Records release, which was, I think, was like a subsidiary of Earache or something. 89. Man, can't fucking believe it. So I'll dig into that. I haven't listened to it in a really long time. This is probably the only like non-brutal album I've got here. October Tide, Rain Without End. This is just like a dark metal record from Finland. I think these guys have a couple other releases that I should probably track down, but Vic Records again keeps popping up in my... I swear I'm not like sponsored by Vic Records or anything, but they're putting out some good stuff. Next, so my pal in Dryad, who you should check out, link below, posted about this band Necronomicon the other day and said that they were a big influence on them. And I went to look into this Necronomicon, and I kind of was like, how the fuck have I never heard of this band Necronomicon? So I decided to pick up their second full length, Apocalyptic Nightmare, on Battle Cry Records. Don't know a damn thing about them. Let me know what you think. This album versus the debut. I think they're like German thrash with some kind of blackish tinges. Speaking of German thrash, you're gonna maybe hate me for not owning this prior, but Terrible Certainty by Creator. Creator's not one of my favorite bands, but their first couple I would say are pretty essential, but apparently not essential enough to go out of my way to buy them. I think this is an original noise futurist kind of version. 93, I guess, so kind of original, not really, but nothing to the packaging. It's like they just took the fucking LP and were like, here you go, It's a CD. Killer thrash. Next, German death metal band of the highest order, Flesh Crawl, again, with Blood Red Massacre. I want to say this is their follow-up to Impurity, the third one. 97. Am I right? Let me see. Impurity was 95. This is 97. Wait, 93, 97. Haven't jammed this yet, so really looking forward to it. I had been really dying to fill out my Flesh Crawl discography, but Black Mark shit, man, hard to come by. So Kevin, you are the fucking man for selling me this stuff. Can't fucking wait to give this a spin. Also got another one from Flesh Crawl. So that was 97. I'm just kind of familiarizing myself with the lineage here. Okay, so it was Impurity, and then Blood Soil, 95, and then Blood Red Massacre. And then was Love Flesh after that, and then I think there might be another full length after that one that I don't have either. So getting down to the nitty gritty, Blood Soil has a picture of a severed camel head on the back of it. This fucking disturbed me. Just the thought of, I don't know if, are they gonna eat the camel head? What are they doing with these spinal columns and heads? That's a fucking brutal picture. Even though the guy here looks like he's on the phone. Anyways, Flesh Crawl is a great death metal band. Another weird thing about this record is the third track is a Demolic cover. It's just, what a weird thing to do. You put covers at the end, right? Moving on. Master. On the seventh day, God is a butthole. No, God created Master. Sorry, I forgot. Original Nuclear Blast press. Passed on buying this way back in the day from a used bin and always kind of regretted it. So happy to have redemption on that. Haven't jammed Master in a really long time. So next we've got Haunting the Chapel by Slayer. I am not the biggest Slayer fan. I got into death metal, black metal, and then I realized thrash is where it all came from. But my buddies weren't into thrash. They were over it, I guess, back then. So I started kind of asking. I was like, so what's Slayer like? What's the good Slayer record? And they all had like Divine Intervention and is it Undisputed Attitude, like that live covers album or something, and I wasn't really into those. Divine Intervention is alright. And then I got into, of course, Rain and Blood and Seasons in the Abyss and stuff like that. And maybe I just played the shit out of them and got sick of them. I don't know. I quickly moved on to other German thrash bands and just was like, Bay Area is fucking not where it's at. I hate this fucking party thrash. To this day, like, not to say that fucking Slayer is party thrash, but just the remotely sounding like any of that Bay Area kind of stuff just rubs me the wrong way. It just sounds like fucking hard rock to me. Anyways, I decided the other day that I should probably give Hell Awaits and Show No Mercy and maybe this one a second chance. So I'm gonna do it. Old Slayer, maybe that's where it's at. What it was is I watched an interview that Kim Kelly did with Kerry King, and he had said that their debut was basically just a Merciful Fate record. And I was like, huh? It just didn't sound right to me. So I want to revisit that and see what I think. Anyways, next we've got Morta fucking Skuld, Dying Remains, Def Records, 93. Def Records was a subsidiary of Peaceville. And I never really understood why there was a distinction between Peaceville. Why didn't just Peaceville release these things? But Morta Skuld were a death metal band from the United States. I'm blanking on where they were from. I'm gonna say Milwaukee, Wisconsin sounds about right. Never knew that. I guess I always thought they were either from like New Jersey or like south of here, but need to pick up some more Morta Scald. Good stuff, just like straightforward meat and potatoes, old school death metal. Next we've got Aggressor with Towards Beyond, another Black Mark issue. I don't think I've ever heard this at all. I don't hear a lot of people talk about these guys, but it was well reviewed, and it's on Black Mark. I'm in. Couple more. Another death metal fucking staple classic. This is actually my second copy of it now. My copy of it was really scratched up since I found it at a pawn shop for like $1. So this is a pretty near mint copy of it. So happy to have it. It's such a fucking killer record. I love Cancer. Marty, I don't care what you say. It's fucking awesome. Next. Man, I was jamming this today. This is so fucking badass. Sadist, Swallowed in Black. Not the debut, but I'm gonna say their best one. I've always wanted to get a copy of this. A buddy of mine used to have this on cassette, and we would drive around in the fucking infernal months of summer listening to it, and I always wanted to get a copy of it, and I haven't heard it since. It's so fucking nasty, just fucking vicious and technical. I love how fucking grimy and nasty it is, but it's technical and proficient and shreddy. It's just a fucking a really interesting take on just being the full-on fucking metal assault. For its time period, 1990, it was ahead of its time, more intense than a lot of other bands at that time. It is the best Sadist record. Fight me. Also picked up Elements of Anger, 97. So now I have the first, I think, 4 Sadist records on CD, and I think that's all you need based on the reviews I've been seeing. Haven't jammed this yet. I don't know if I've even ever heard it, so let me know what I'm in for with this one. Cool, kind of embossed jewel case. Hope I don't ever drop it, because that's not gonna be fun. Next, fuck, this is such a good haul. Death, Doom, and Destruction, Cyanide. Their third album, I believe, Lost Horizon Limited, hand numbered to 1,000. Good stuff. Chicago Meat and Potatoes, death fucking metal. Since I picked up their first 2, Dying Truth and the other one, I'm really kind of coming around, I think, to Cyanide. Also, Kevin is in the band Graveworm, who I hope you're familiar with. Killer stuff. Sent me his 2017 album, The Shadowlands. I have not owned any Graveworm. I used to have something from Graveworm, but it's been a really long time. I don't even know what happened to it. So 2 more, and then 2 more. Also decided to pick up this Killing Addiction, Shores of Oblivion. This is a newer EP from these guys, a 4-track EP from 2016 on Extreme Music. These guys are kind of noted for their Omega Factor full length. That's one of the more sought after Jail America releases, especially the long box edition. I would love to have a copy of that if I could ever get it for a decent price. But was just kind of curious about this. I found out about Killing Addiction in an interesting way. Funny story. There is a video. It's on YouTube now, but it didn't used to be. It used to be just kind of like a myth. I think I found out about it on Space Ghetto. You know, Space Ghetto. You know. What happened was some dudes in a band called Gobstopper down in Florida, in maybe Sarasota, Florida, in like 90, 91 or something, got in trouble with the law, and they got sentenced to public service. And the community service, public service that they wound up doing was playing the Christmas party at a children's home for the gifted. And they filmed it, and it is amazing. Utterly amazing. It's a full-on kind of like punky thrash metal band playing for not children but adults who have various maladies, a lot of Down syndrome going on, a lot of various maladies, a lot of various affectations. I don't know how to put this unoffensively, but they have mental roadblocks, we'll say, and they fucking enjoy themselves so fucking much. There's like one chaperone lady there, and she gets pissed at these guys, and she says, "Why don't you play some Elvis?" And the whole crowd of people, they're like, "Get out of here! You go! Leave them alone! We're having fun!" There's this lady that wears a pink sweatshirt, and she's holding a stuffed Alf doll the whole time, and she is dancing her fucking life away in front of this band, Gobstopper. So, on the back of the guy's shirt, the singer in this band, is this logo that I had the hardest time figuring out what it was. And so I eventually did some deep Googling and learned that it was this band called Killing Addiction. And that was how I found out about Killing Addiction way back in the day. So anyways, all that ever like surfaced back in the day was like this little MPEG that you could download from some website, maybe Space Ghetto or whatnot, and it was just like a preview clip, and in it was some guy's address where you could send him like $10 and get a DVD-R copy of the whole show of this thing. So I wrote him, sent him the money, and he never fucking came through, but I was so fucking eager to get my hands on a copy of this thing that I harassed him. I emailed him over and over until finally I got my copy of it. And it is... Anyways, Killing Addiction, Shores of Oblivion. I listened to this last night, and it's really killer. I'm kind of shocked that a band that was relevant in like 91 fell off, and then can pick it back up again in 2016 and put out some really solid death metal. Good stuff. So lastly, from the haul from my buddy Kevin, this is Wild Dogs with Reign of Terror. Had this on LP because this is a fucking killer release. I saw these guys live at Classic Metal Fest Chicago, number 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there. And it was awesome. Only thing is, this was originally released, let's see, 86, maybe 88. There's nothing in here, just a cheesy band photo cover. Anyways, the first song, Metal Fuel. If you don't fucking thrash around with your fists in the air after listening to Metal Fuel, you, my friend, are not a metalhead. All right, two more. Justin Stubbs, who I hadn't talked about until just now, was going crazy about Blasphemy by Incantation. Said it was his maybe third favorite Incantation record. There's my Pentacrostic CD. Just found it. So I decided to pick up Incantation. This is now my third Incantation record. I'm just kind of like branching out into Incantation, seeing how I feel about it. I do like this. I appreciate this versus like Onward to Golgotha and the second one, because it sounds a little less dense, and I really have come to appreciate in my older years albums where the instruments are kind of separated and panned well, so that you can kind of easily decipher what's going on. Well compressed, just, it's a good sounding, clean, kind of slick record. The artwork is fucking god awful on here. Good job, Paul Edney. But it's a killer record. I just kind of realized, I listened to this like twice, I want to say, and I'm just, I guess I feel like I should be more impressed with Incantation's riffing. Maybe their like pinch harmonic kind of stuff does more for people than it does for me. I don't know. I'm not like enthusiastically into Incantation. I'm coming around to them mildly. But I just kind of feel like since so many people are so into them, I should at least be, you know, keep trying. Next and lastly, picked up the second and last full length from Iowa's Nether Void. This is In Swarms of Godless Wrath. So I was friends with these guys from the demo days, and this came out in 2009, and I just, for some reason, never got around to picking up their full length. And this is like the slickest, most polished, well-written, I think, album that they did. They did like a demo, an EP, and 2 full lengths. Yeah, good stuff. It's kind of generic, kind of shit. It's like they were listening to stuff like, I don't know, Dark Funeral. It's kind of like Dark Funeral, so I don't know, if you want something that's kind of like middle of the road, easy to swallow kind of stuff like that, Nether Void is decent. Really super mighty, speedy drumming, and yeah, that's that for now. Is that it? Yeah, I think that does it. All right, thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, I don't know, what the fuck are you doing? We'll see you next time. Thank